Thank you for joining us here today on From the Heart, where we tell stories of life because life is interesting. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the Hill Country Network, you will recognize this young lady with me today. She is one of the hosts on Let's Talk, but she's also an author. I want to introduce you to Miss Jessica Winston.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all? Okay. How are you all? Good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're here today to talk with Jessica about a book that she wrote. What's the name of your book?
The name of the book is called You. I actually made the title really long. I shouldn't have did that. The next one would just be straightforward, but it's called You. Um, Love learned, love lost, love hurt, love gained, situations and thoughts. It's a really good book. I will say that it's really good.
Good. Um, let's start first with who you are. So tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, Evelyn. Okay. All right. A little bit about me would take about 2 days and 36 hours. Um, I'm a really nice person. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful friends. The most important thing about me is that I love the Lord and that I love people. And that was the reason that I wrote this book. I grew up here. Um, my mother moved here when I was 3 years old, so I might as well say that this is my hometown. This is where I'm from. New Albany is like where I'm from, and I'm glad that she moved here. I really am. I'm glad because I don't know if we would have stayed in Chicago, what type of person I would be today. But because I'm here, I learned manners. I learned about people. I'm just really happy that New Albany is my home. And even, well, go ahead. I was just gonna say, even when I moved to Memphis, I stayed in Memphis for about 3 or 4 years. And when I moved back here because my mother had gotten sick, and I really despised the fact that I was back. I was like, ooh, I wish I could go back to Memphis. But I have learned that God places you where you need to be at the right time. And when I did come back and I allowed Him to use me, things just really started happening in my life. This is where I'm supposed to be.
What's your mom and dad's name?
Oh, I was about to say my mother's name is Queen, but my mother's name is Jerry. She's like a queen to me. And my father's name is Joe. Wonderful parents. Wonderful parents.
How many siblings do you have?
I have two sisters. I have two sisters, Grace and Morgan. They are the loves of my life. I love them. Really do. And then I have some nieces and some nephews. Let's see, I have two nieces and I have four nephews. So yeah, we're not a big family, but it seems to be growing. Yeah, it's growing. So
So, what do you do for your daytime job?
I work at the Union County Library. I'm a librarian there, and I love the library. That's what I was saying earlier about God knows exactly where you need to be. When He placed me there, that was the best thing that really could ever happen to me. I really love my job, and I love the people I work with. So that's what I do.
What do you do at the library? I mean, I've always seen people, putting books on the shelf and different things like that, but what do you do particularly?
Okay, well, I do put the books on the shelves. I do that. But I also work with people, helping them put their applications in. I help people with resumes. Uh, I do a lot. Evelyn, I really do a lot there. I do programs. I really do a lot there. We're more than just books. We really are. We're doing a lot.
Y'all are renting bicycles now, too, aren't you?
We are. And I remember when Miss Sissy had the idea to do so. You know, sometimes when people have vision, you don't see it, but she saw it. She saw the need because of the trail. It has really become very successful. Since June, we have rented out the bicycles 600 times.
And who is Miss Sissy? What's her name and what does she do?
Okay, her name is Missy Bullock, and she's our director at the library. Really good boss. I have really grown to love her. I really have.
So, let's talk about your book. What inspired you to write this?
Well, Evelyn, I've been writing for a long time, having ideas for books. When I was in the second grade, I had a very good idea for a book. And I told the author, and I won't mention her name, but I told an author that I had met an idea for a book. Well, she took that idea. She took it and she made money from it. She's well known. and it never stopped me from writing, but I would tear my writings up because I thought that somebody else would try to take what I had wrote. So I've always had ideas in my brain about different characters and different settings. So I've always been a writer. Always been a writer. But with this particular book, I just had an idea about women, and I wanted to share the fictional characters with the world. But what made me really push it was that I was seeing a young man at the time, and it was very heartbreaking. And I just wrote a lot of stuff on paper about how would a fictional character feel if she was me, if that makes any sense. And so once I started writing, the characters became 6 different characters, all going through something different that everyone can relate to. So that's how that happened. Okay, so I always get my years mixed up, but I started writing it October 2018, and um, then what happened was me and the young man were having issues. Thank you. We were having issues, and I think we ended our relationship maybe February. So what something took just for a little while to do, I did it briefly. It just happened really briefly. I just put it all together in words, had it together, and then it was published in May. I did self-publishing. And then I prayed and asked the Lord to let the process be in a hurry because I felt like I need to have it done by June the 1st. And by June the 1st, I had my book signing. So
Where did you have your book signing at?
I had it at the library. The perks of working at the library. I had it there, and I had a wonderful turnout. It was really nice. The community really came out. It was just, that was one of the best days of my life. It really was, because I knew I always wanted to write a book, but I really couldn't see it ever being published. I really could never see it in my hand. And I remember when I held it in my hand, I couldn't even cry. That's how excited I was. And so since the book has been self-published or published, I've sold 300 books since June. So, and I've got nothing but great feedback. I will say this, Evelyn, and to the world out there, that whenever you do self-publishing and you get someone to format it for you, make sure that you go through and make sure there are no mistakes, because even the person that's doing it for you, formatting it for you, she's human just like you are. So there was some mistakes in the book. And I remember when I started reading it, because I had already ordered my copies. And when I started reading it, I was like, oh, there's so many mistakes in here. And I heard a very lovely voice in the back of my head, and I just believe it was the Lord, was like, tell the people, don't look for the mistakes, look for the message. And once I heard that, it just eased my heart. So I've got nothing but great feedback. It was a lady that came to the library the other day, and she was like, is your book here? And someone hasn't checked out and they haven't brought it back yet. And I was like, well, it's out. And then she said, well, do you have any copies? And what happened was I've sold out. So I've got to order more copies. And a girl behind her said, it's really good. It's really good. And she didn't even have to say that. But I could hear the enthusiasm in her voice to say, it's a really good book. You need to read it. So, yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful.
Very good, man. I'm very proud of it.
Okay, so for the would-be writers, how do you do self-publishing?
Okay, well, it's all about networking and connections. You know, really, Evelyn, it was nothing but the Lord's doing, because I had met a young lady through my cousin in Chicago. And I didn't know that she was the one that could format books and different things like that. So I don't know how she did it, but it's actually an easy process once you get the connection going. And it has also allowed me to make, a little bit more money on the side, because I didn't realize how many people wanted to write a book. And what I've learned is that sometimes when people write books, they don't want to tell you who's their connection. They don't want to let you know. I don't know why, because I feel like what God has for me is for me, and what God has for you is for you. So why not give that information to you? Because I remember when I didn't have the information. So it's allowed me to make a little bit of money on the side as well, because I'm helping people get their words on paper now and helping them with the connection that I have. So I don't mind sharing. I don't mind sharing what a person can do to get their dream on paper.
So when you write your book, do you What kind of format do you use? Do you do it all on computer in a certain program, and then you email that to?
Okay, so what I did was I was writing it. I was still doing old stuff. And the young lady, her name is Ashley. She told me, she said, Jessica, don't write anymore. Start typing. Just do it on Word document, Microsoft Word. And she said, just go from there. So what I would do was every day on my lunch break, I would write. Or whenever I got off work, because the library stays open later on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I would get off at 6, I would go straight to the computer and type for another hour and a half. Or Saturdays when I didn't work, I would be up there typing on Saturdays. So if you would, you just start typing on Microsoft Word. You can also get the software. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called like Dragon or something like that, where you can talk into the microphone and it puts the words on there for you. You can do that. Have your flash drive. You definitely need a flash drive. And you can email it to the person that formats it, like I said, to the person that I know, or if you know somebody. And then that way that they can have it. So every character was already with flash drive. I would send it and it was just in order.
Tell us about the cover.
Okay, so the cover came to me early. Now, my cousin, Diana from Chicago, she did my cover. And what I did was I knew exactly what I wanted. The reason why there are silhouettes on the book is because sometimes we want to know what people look like. It doesn't matter what a person looks like, what they're going through. It's just that they're a person, just like you. So I definitely wanted to show that, okay, like I said, it doesn't matter what a person looks like. Just know that they're going through something, you're going through something. So each silhouette of the woman, I even got a plus size woman on here. It was very hard for her to find a plus size silhouette, but she found it. And when she found it, it let me know that, okay, we're all different women of all different sizes, but we all go through something. So I just gave her the vision and she just went with it. And I used the color of red because the color of red can be sensual, it can be sexual, but it can also be rage. So I wanted to use a color that would be able to talk to everyone in some kind of way. So that's why I chose the cover to be red. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a dedication in your book?
I do. I have it to my nieces, and I have it to my nephews, and then I have it to my ex-husband. This book is dedicated to him too.
Okay. Introduce us to one of your characters.
Oh, just one? Okay.
We don't want to give the whole book away. We want people to buy it.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. But the thing is, I love all of them. It's like I know them in their own way. I tell people all the time, when you're a writer, you feel the character. You really do. And it's like, and I don't want to sound, too deep, but it's like you can hear the character come out. And so each character, I love them in a sense where I could feel them and who they are. So if I could introduce one, it would be Jasmine. Jasmine would be the one that I would introduce. She's got low self-esteem, has a guy in her life that's treating her really mean, but she loves him. She loves him very much, and she's been there for him. And then all of a sudden, he starts treating her extremely bad. And he tells her that she needs to lose weight. And so she wants to please him, so she goes to the gym to lose weight, and she meets this lovely man that she can't believe is interested in her. And he's very much interested. So she's in a tug of war between something familiar or something new and exciting that could take her away from her woes and different things like that. So that would be somebody. If I could do that, I would introduce Jasmine. I would say read Jasmine. All of them are good. Yeah. But it's something about Jasmine. It's something about Jasmine that I really like. Sometimes we want to know what a person is going to decide about relationships or jobs or whatever. So I left it open. In each story, with each character, you don't know what decision they made. Like with Jasmine, you don't know what decision she made. I wanted to give the reader the opportunity to decide, if I was Jasmine, who would I choose? And I've had so many people ask me to write a sequel to this book. And I was going to do it, to please the people, but I'm not going to do one. I've decided that I'm not going to do a sequel to it because I want to leave that decision still open to the reader. I want the reader when she reads or he reads, because I've had male readers too. I want them to say, okay, if this was me, what would I do? Or with the male reader, do I treat my girlfriend like this? Do I treat my wife like this? You know, giving it open where they can see. So the second book, I got the idea the other day to do a book about a young lady that falls in love with a narcissist. And that's going to be very challenging for me because I didn't even know what a narcissist was, Evelyn. I didn't know until recently. I found out what a narcissist actually is. I didn't even know, like I said, the depths of it. So I'm going to write a book about that, and it's going to be called Mr. Nice Guy. And the Lord gave me that title last night, and I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to really starting to write that. I had started writing on the sequel to You. It was going to be called You Too, but I could never get it together.
Well, I'm with those that want you to do a sequel because I like the completion of it. I mean, I like the way you ended it, but the completion of it would be one of my requests too.
Well, maybe later on I will. But when I first started writing this book, that was my completion, to just leave it out just like that, to say, this is exactly how it's going to end. And I have poems in here too as well that are true poems that I wrote about myself or dealing with different situations that I heard. It's some really good stuff in here.
Will you read us one of your poems, please?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Okay. This poem is actually about a young lady that goes through a divorce. Possibly that her ex-husband left her for another woman. I wrote this during the time when I got my divorce, and I just wrote it. This poem is like almost 10 years old, so I'll read it. You ready? Okay. It's and also I didn't call the story I called the stories. I didn't want to call the stories stories. I wanted to call them situations, and I didn't want to call the poems poems. I wanted to call them thoughts, because I just feel like when you're writing a poem, they're the thoughts of you. So I just wanted to call it thought. It's called Why, or Thought For. Okay. Why? Why did you leave me? Why did you go? Did you not love me? I need to know. Did I not please you? Was my mouth too smart? Did you not ever care? Did you not have a heart? What was it about her? Was it her charm? Was it her smile? Was it the way she made you feel? Did she take care of you as if you were her child? What made you decide that she would love you until there was no end? What made you fold? What made you break? What made you not see clearly? What made you bend? What made you decide to take away my last name and place it in her hands? What made you end what we had built? Remember, you were my friend. What made me sink into depression? What made me lose all those years? Why did I allow myself to sink so low? Why did it take me so long to face my fears? Why did I go along with the games that played inside my mind? Why did I believe my mother when she said to me it would only get better with time? Why did we get married? Why did we denounce our vows? Why am I sitting here crying? What do I do now? I will pick up my face and dry the tears that run down my cheeks. The question still lingers in my mind. Why did you leave me?
Wow. That's very, very thoughtful.
It was very true. I mean, I'm straight now, but at the time when I wrote that, it was, if you would just listen to me, you can still feel the emotion in my throat about it. That was a deep one. I got another one about a young man that didn't choose me to be his wife. He chose another woman, and that really bothered me. That hurt my heart for him to do that, for him to choose her and not see me as wife material. So that still hurts my heart. Mm-hmm. So this book is very personal on all kinds of levels, and I've had so many people read the poems or the thoughts or the stories or the situations and say, this is me. Older women, this is me now, or this was me back then. I've had ministers that have read this book say, "Ooh, girl, I remember when I felt this way," or "I'm still going through it." Just different women, and not just of the African American community, but all kinds of communities and cultures. This book can be related to a lot of people, and actually, I'm working on it being done in Spanish. Asking the young lady, she's going to do it, turn it into the Spanish, so they can read it and understand it.
That is great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Tell us how people can get your book.
Okay, so I had to learn early that pre-ordering is the best. If a person would like a book, they can come to the library, and what they would have to do is pay me first, because copies of the book can be expensive. They really can. And so I thank the Lord that I haven't had not one person not pay for their book when I ordered copies. But I don't want to get to the point where I would have a problem. So pre-ordering for me is the best. You just pay for it first, and then you know where I work, so I couldn't take your money. So I would then order the copy and then call you whenever it was ready, or you can go on Amazon and put this information in. You can just put in "You" by Jessica Marie Winston, and make sure you put Marie Winston, Jessica Marie Winston, because it's another lady by the name of Jessica Winston that's a lawyer up north that has written books too. So you have to put the Marie in the middle, and you can order it online. Mm-hmm.
How much are they?
Okay, so with me, pre-ordering is $20, but if you go on Amazon, it's $15. It's $15. So, and I did that because I didn't know how the shipping and handling would be with Amazon, so I didn't want anybody to pay more, So I wanted it to be evened out. So that's why I did the 15 on Amazon and did the 20 with me. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I look forward to reading it.
Oh yeah, it's a really good book, and I have other ideas for a book too. I plan on doing at least one book a year. That's the way I have it planned out. A lot of my books are not. I'm not gonna say, because some people would say drama filled. It's not. It's just real life. Like I told somebody, it's a fictional book with a non-fictional twist, because you can see the realness in it for yourself. So that's the way I plan on doing it. I plan on taking it all over the country, if it be the Lord's will, and not just this book, but the Mr. Nice Guy. And then I, plan on doing a lot of motivational speaking, because it's more to me than just the book. But I definitely want to promote my book, of course, but I want people to know that the God that I serve has truly brought me out of a lot of situations. And so I'm just looking forward to what he has in store for me. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Evelyn, for having me. And I love you, and I love Hill Country Network. And I just appreciate you. The talk show is another door opening that, that the Lord blessed me with. And, if anybody wants to write a book, they can definitely get in touch with me. And like I said, I share, information. I'm really thinking about it. It's been on my heart to do like I'm not going to say a conference, but maybe like a seminar or something, maybe next year, because there's so many people that have questions about writing a book, that maybe, people can come, together, and we can, figure out how we can do this together. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Talk just a second before we go about Let's Talk.
Oh, Let's Talk is the best talk show ever. It really is. I believe that I came to you all December 2018 with the idea, and we have wonderful people, Wanda, Miss Marta, and Sue, and we just get together, and we are truly ourselves on the show. Truly ourselves on the show. And I just want to say that I remember when I was little, having, we would play in the room. And I remember I would have the stuffed animals, and I would be Phil Donahue. My mother watched Phil Donahue and Geraldo and Sally Jesse Raphael. And I remember I would be like, okay, so the dog would be this person, and just different things like that. But I also remember, like I said, writing a book too, just writing stories. So the dreams that I had when I was younger is coming to play now. And so to see all of those things happen now, I don't have to talk to the dog and the hippopotamus or the Barbie dolls. And I remember when I was little, before Grace Morgan came, I had real Barbie dolls. Then I got the ones that at Dollar General. But anyway, but it didn't matter. They were on the show. And I remember that. And I knew that I would be on TV. And I believe that I'll continue to be on TV all over the world. Because I'm just seeing the young Jessica and her dream being reality today. Right. Yes, ma'am.
Because Hill Country Network is all over the world.
I know. And I was going to say that you took the words right out of my mouth. The king of Switzerland, yes, watches us. And we appreciate that. And I know it's all over the world. And, just being in, I guess what I was trying to say was just different outlets, especially with the motivational speaking, different things like that. But I will never forget the humble beginnings, the dolls, Let's Talk, the first book, just different things like that mold and shape me today. And that's, I want the, everyone out there to know that, never despise humble beginnings, small beginnings, because it will lead to other things. If you just be thankful and be humble and just be thankful for it all. Yes, ma'am. So
thank you for joining us here today. Thank you for joining us today on From the Heart, where we tell stories of life because life is interesting. Be sure and watch From the Heart every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and then again at 5 p.m. Also, watch Let's Talk on Thursdays at 9 and 5. You can catch reruns all during the week. You can watch us on our website, which is watched all over the world. You can take us on the go because you can watch it on your mobile devices. You can also watch us on Roku now because we're on there. We're the only ones under the state of Mississippi. But you go to PEG TV, that's PEG.TV. Or then if you've got Max South here in New Albany area, you can watch us locally on 99.1. Now, stay tuned to the channel, and we hope you have a wonderful week, and will join us next time.